Good morning, dear friends. This is 4 in the morning, and I'm making video for all of you. Dear friends, my motive is to awaken all of you and enable all of you to read your own birth charts so that you could not get yourself trapped into wrong hands. Dear friends, as I earlier discussed the topics regarding government jobs or business, what is destined for you in your birth chart. Now I will discuss particular services, and in this series today I have brought before you the army and police service yoga in your birth chart. Let me tell you some basic things regarding this yoga in your birth chart. First is which houses are to be looked into for this combination. How can we judge whether we can become a service man in army or police? The very first and important house in your birth chart is your ascendant, is the first house, because first house is you. So the power of ascendant is very vital. If your lagna is not important, if your lagna is not powerful, it will not work. Anything will not work if your lagna is not powerful. So first ascertain if your lagna is weak or powerful. How can you say it is weak or powerful? If your lagna lord is seated in the first house, in the 4th house, 5th house, in the 9th house, 10th house, 11th house, your lagna is powerful. If the lord of your first house in your birth chart sits in 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, 3rd house, it is not considered to be very good. And you have to see the degree and the nakshatra of the lagna as well. So by this way you can decide whether your lagna is weak or strong. So if lagna is strong, one step is over. After that, for serving in army or police, you have to put an eye over the 3rd house as well. Why 3rd house is important for army or police services? Because 3rd house is of your courage, and in army and police, courage is the foremost quality which you should have. Only then you can go in these kind of services. So after seeing 1st house, 3rd house, we should go for your 6th house, because 6th house is responsible for giving you success in competition. If it is powerful, it tells you that you are going to succeed in competition, because if competition you don't beat, you can't go in service. So 6th house is also important. After that, we should go for your house of luck, that is 9th house. Luck is also important, because if luck is supporting you, you can become a prime minister from a tea vendor. So you have to look for the luck house in your birth chart as well. It should be good. Then after the main and the most important house for your job or profession is 10th house, that is of karma. From this house we see what you are going to do in your life. So look for the connection of 10th house with your 6th house, 3rd house and 1st house as well. After that, the last house to be looked into for this particular services in army and police, 11th house is also important, because 11th house is the house of fulfillment of your desires. If you so desire, whether your desires shall be fulfilled timely, or will it take time, or will it nullify, this is to be judged by the assessment of your 11th house, that is the house of fulfillment of desire. So dear friends, in short, in summary, let me tell you once again: first house, third house, sixth house, ninth house, 10th house and 11th house. These are the houses which are to be assessed for your government job in army and police services. So this was the house which you have to look into in your birth chart, their power. Besides these houses, some planets are also very important. They must be robust to go into army and police services. Which are those planets? Just guess. See, army and police service is the service of courage, is the service of valor, is the service of bravery, is the service of action. Now you might have guessed sorry, now you might have guessed the house responsible for your valor, your actions, your courage is your third house. So this Mars and Sun both are hot planets. They have fire element in them, and Mars is the karaka for, you may call it, Josh, Junoon, valor, bravery, aggression. Mars is responsible for that. So Mars should be good in your birth chart, and it should make a connection with your third house, sixth house, 10th house, 9th house, 11th house. So the position and power of Mars is to be taken into mind. First and the second planet which you have to ascertain is the Sun. The power of the Sun is very important, because Sun is the karaka for higher positions in administration, and Sun is responsible for government jobs as well, and Sun is responsible for making you famous or glorious in public field. So the assessment of Sun is also very important. Sun should be good and placed at a better place in your birth chart. After Mars and Sun, you should look for Saturn and Jupiter as well. Why Saturn and Jupiter? Actually, Saturn is also responsible for service. If you are going to get a lower post in army and police, like constable, you are going to become in police service, or just a soldier, you are going to be in the army, then Saturn may support. It may have connection with your 6th house and 10th house. But if you are going to be destined as an officer in army or police, then Jupiter must make connection, because Jupiter is the karaka of authority, knowledge, high position, people working under you. This shall be ensured by the planet Jupiter. So Jupiter should be good, and if it makes connection with your house of luck, that is 9th house, then definitely you are going to have a greater position in these departments. So in various birth charts I have seen that the lords of 9th house, that is one of the Trikonesh, makes connection or sits in 10th house itself. So this was a brief summary regarding planets and houses which are responsible for army and police services. So dear friends, I have prepared 3 birth charts, including the first lady IPS of India, Kiran Bedi, and one birth chart is of my relative who is an army officer, and one is of a person who is having higher position, good position in Uttar Pradesh Police Department. So let me show it all to you. So dear friends, this is the birth chart of Kiran Bedi. Her date of birth is 9 June 1949, 2:10 p.m. Amritsar, Punjab. Now look carefully. First, let me tell you in brief that this is a birth chart, and each and every birth chart has 12 columns. This is the first house, second house. First house is of your personality, second house is of your wealth, third house is of your courage, fourth house is of your worldly pleasures, fifth house is of your brain, kids, love, romance. Sixth house is responsible for job. Seventh house is for your partner, whether it is life partner or business partner. Eighth house is of deep researches and hindrances. Ninth house is of your luck. 10th house is of your profession. 11th house is fulfillment of desires. 12th house is of foreign and expenses and jail. So, and these are the sign. 1 and 8 represents Mars in your birth chart. 2 and 7 represents Venus. 3 and 6 represents Mercury. 9 and 12 represents Jupiter. 10 and 11 represents Saturn. 4 represents Moon. 5 represents Sun. So now look into the birth chart of Kiran Bedi. What you see here? See, this is the first house, Lagna, ascendant, the most important house. It is held by number 6, and number 6 is of Mercury. Number 6 and number 3. Number 6 is Virgo, number 3 is Gemini, and the lordship of both Mercury is Mercury. Now see, Mercury is having lordship of 2 Kendra Bhav here in this birth chart, that is ascendant, and this is your 10th house, the house of profession. And Mercury itself is seated in the 9th house. See here, it is Mercury, Buddha. It is seated in the house of luck. So making her luck very strong, because ascendant having lordship of first house and 10th house sitting in 9th house. So this is very good combination. See here, I have written Dasham ke Swami, the Lord of 10th is Mercury, affecting 3 houses, having lordship of first house and 10th house, and seated in 9th house. So these 3 houses are affected by Mercury. So we have checked her first house. Now see her third house. This is the house of valor, courage, bravery, action, and 8 number is written here. 8 number is of Mars. So Mars is the lord of our third house, and 1 number is also of Mars, 8th house. So these 2 houses, Mars is having lordship and sitting here in the 9th house. See, this is Mars. Mars is making conjunction with the ascendant Mercury in the house of luck. So once again, Mars is becoming powerful when sitting with the chief minister of this birth chart. And along with that you can see the sun. Sun, which is responsible for giving you higher position in administration, is making conjunction with Mars and Mercury, the ascendant. So here Mars, Sun, Mercury, all are sitting in the house of luck, and Mercury is having the lordship of 10th house. So for 10th house or for profession, luck shall help. The Sun and Mars will also help. If technically we see in this birth chart that the Lord of 10th is Mercury, affecting 1, 10 and 9, and Mercury is sitting in the sublord, or you can say sublord of Mercury is Saturn. One rule of KP astrology is that the planet gives its result of its sublord first, then it gives the results of the place where it is sitting. So Mercury is under the sublordship of Saturn. Now Saturn, if you see, there are two signs responsible for Saturn, 10 and 11. In this birth chart you can see 10 is written here in the 5th house and 11 is written here in the 6th house, and this 6th house is responsible for service. So 10th house Lord Mercury is making connection with 6th house through its sublord. After this you have to look for which planets are sitting in the 10th house. So you see that Venus is sitting here in the 10th house. So Venus sitting here in 10th and having lordship of 9th house and 2nd house. 9th house again luck, 2nd house is wealth. So here Venus is affecting 10th house, 2nd house and 9th house. The third thing that we have to look in the birth chart is the aspect of the 10th Lord. 10th Lord is Mercury and its aspect is 7th. So you will count from here the 7th aspect of Mercury. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th aspect of Mercury is on the house of valor, courage, the house of Mars. See, 8 number is Mars. And when your ascendant is looking at your house of valor, definitely this trait shall become prominent in your personality. So Kiran Bedi, how brave she was, how determined, how valor she was, every Indian knows. So now you can see the whole connection of houses along with planets. You see that 10th house, 1st house, 3rd house, 5th house, 6th house, 9th house and this 12th house and 11th house as well. These are all are the houses that are making connection with each other and ensuring that she will get a government job with higher authority. There is no doubt in it. Higher authority is being confirmed by the sun sitting here in the house of luck along with the ascendant. And Mars is also sitting here, which is showing that she will be brave. She will have sportsmanship. And the ascendant is looking at the third house, ensuring her sportsmanship. And very few of you might be knowing that Kiran Bedi started as a tennis player. Later she joined Indian Police Service and she became the first lady IPS of India. And you are seeing that houses I have written here: first, second, third, fifth, 4, 6, 10, 12. They are interconnected. So for government job I have told you one formula. If your first, second, 6, 10 interconnect, you get a government job definitely. And if these houses are affected or having impressions of Mars and Sun, Mars must be robust for getting a job in army or police. So very clearly you can see it. And what happened later on? She got her job as an IPS in 1972 in the Mahadasha of Mercury, which is her ascendant, under the Antardasha of Venus. Venus, which is seated here in her house of profession, and Mercury is the lord of 10th house profession. So Mercury and Venus, Mercury and Venus. Very clearly, dear friends, you can see that Mercury and Venus both are seated and affecting this 10th house, house of profession. So she got her job. She became an IAS officer in 1972 under the period of Mercury and Venus. So I think this must be very much clear to you. If any confusion arises in your mind, don't feel hesitated to comment. Now let us move to another chart. This is the chart of a native born on 26th October 1984, 4:20 p.m. in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. This is the chart of a police officer in UP Police. See what rules and conjunctions I have told you in the chart of Kiran Bedi are available in this chart as well. See, for job we have to look for the ascendant and the 10th house first. So if you look the 10th house, this is the 10th house. This is the 10th house, the house responsible for profession and job, whatever you do in your life. 9 number is written here. You can see 9 number is of Jupiter and 12 number is also of Jupiter. So 9 and 12, these two important houses of Kendra Bhav. First, second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this 10th house and first house both are under the lordship of Jupiter. See, and Jupiter is sitting here in the 10th house itself. So ascendant, when sits in the 10th house, makes this house the most powerful, because wherever the ascendant sits, that house glorifies, that house gets enlightenment. So Jupiter is the lord of this birth chart and sitting in the 10th house, making this house very powerful. Now for job. We have to see the connection of 10th house with the 6th house. If 10th house makes connection with the 6th house, you go into the job, service. If 10th house makes connection with the 7th house, you go for business. This thing I have told you in earlier videos. And if 10th house making connection with Mars, you go in the police or army. And the house of luck, 9th house, should also support these things. So let us see, the lord of 10th house is Jupiter. So here first house, 10th house are engaged with Jupiter, first and 10th. After that, you should see the nakshatra lord or the sublord of 10th house lord. Means Jupiter is sitting in the lordship of which nakshatra, or which is the sublord of Jupiter. So the sublord and the nakshatra lord of Jupiter is Venus. So let us see the condition of Venus. Venus is seated here in the 9th house, the house of luck. It is having the lordship of 4th house, sorry, not 4th house, 3rd house, because Venus 2 and 7, so 2 is written here in the 3rd house. So it is the lordship to 3rd house and 8th house. So 3rd house, 8th house, Venus is having lordship and sitting in the 9th house. So 3, 8, 9. These houses are also covered. Now we see which planets are sitting in the 10th house. So there are 2 planets, Mars and Jupiter. So let us check Mars. Mars is sitting in the 10th, having lordship of 2nd house and 9th house. 1 and 8 is Mars. So Mars is affecting first house, sorry, Mars is affecting 2nd house, 9th house and 10th house. This is 2nd house, 9th house and 10th house. So by now we have checked that the 10th house has not made connection with the 7th or 6th house, because it must make connection with the 6th house for going in service, and it must make connection with the 7th house for going in business. So now check the third step. Third step is we have to see the aspects of the 10th house lord. So here you see the 9 number. 9 number is representing Jupiter. Now see the aspects of Jupiter. Jupiter are having 3 aspects. 5th, 7th and 9th. So check from here itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fifth aspect of Jupiter is on second house, the house of wealth. 6, 7. Seventh aspect is on the house of worldly pleasures. 8, 9. Ninth aspect of Jupiter is on the house of service, that is 6th house. So Jupiter, the 10th house lord, is aspecting the house of service, 6th house, with its 9th aspect. So it is very much clear that the lord of profession, Jupiter, is aspecting your house of service, that is 6th house. It means this native will go in service. And which service? Because Mars is also here, the lord of house of luck, sitting here in the 10th house, making conjunction with the lord of the 10th house, ensuring that the person shall go in armed forces. So I think, dear friends, it might be clear to you. And now see when he got the job. See, he got the job in 2004 under the Mahadasha of Mercury, Antardasha of Venus and Sushmadasha of Jupiter. In 2004, he became a UP police officer. So I think these combinations and things must be clear to you. Dear friends, one more chart is here for assessment before you. This is the birth chart of a native born on 2nd July 1991, 10:20 p.m. Bareilly, Uttar Pradesh. This is the birth chart of an army officer. Now, dear friends, see, for service, specifically in army or police, what we have to see? We have to see the connection between 1st, 3rd, 6th, 10th. 6th house must make connection with the 10th house for service. If 7th house makes connection with the 10th house, you go for business. So see, this is the 10th house. 10th house, 8 number is written. So number 8 is of Mars. So let us check the Mars first. Mars is the lord of your 10th house, profession house, house of profession, 10th house, and one number is written here in 3rd house. This is the 3rd of 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So you can see here that this 10th house and 3rd house both are under the lordship of the Mars. So Mars is becoming powerful here in this birth chart. And now we have to see where Mars is sitting. So Mars is sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mangal, Mars is sitting here in the 6th house. So in the very first sight you can see that 3rd house, 10th house and 6th house, these 3 houses and 6 and 10, very clear and direct connection between 6 and 10, ensuring that the person shall get government job in army or police definitely. So we have checked Mars, the lordship of third house, 10th house, sitting in 6th house. And now check its nakshatra lord and sublord. So the nakshatra lord of Mars here in this birth chart is Mercury and sublord is Saturn. So see the position of Mercury. Mercury 6 and 3 number. So 3 number is written here and 6 number is written here. So 5th house, 8th house, and Mercury is sitting here in the 6th house itself again. See. So this is also sitting here in the 6th house and the lord of 5th house and 8th house. And sublord decides the final result. So sublord is Saturn. Now check Saturn. Saturn 10 number and 11 number is Saturn. So 10 number is here in 12th house and 11 number Saturn is the ascendant itself, most powerful planet and sitting in the 12th house. So Saturn is covering your first house and 12th house. First house and 12th house. And the third step is which planets are sitting in the 10th house. No planet is sitting in the 10th house. And next is the aspect of the 10th house lord. So 10th house lord is Mars and the aspect of Mars. There are 3 aspects of Mars, that is 4th, 7th and 8th. So Mars is sitting here. Now check from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th house is of luck. Sorry, 9th house is of luck. So the 4th aspect of Mars is on the house of luck. 5, 6, 7. 7th aspect is on 12th house and 8th aspect is on ascendant, means personality. Your personality shall be courageous. Your personality shall be brave, dominating, because Mars is having aspect, 8th aspect on this ascendant, house of ascendant, that is the house of Saturn. So Mars, you can see here in this birth chart, prevails in the 3rd house, 10th house, 6th house. So 3, 10, 6, aspect wise 9, 12, 1. So very much clear. It is very much clear from this birth chart. You can see that this person shall get job because 6 and 10 are making clear connection through Mars, so in army and police. So he became an Indian army officer in 2015 under the Mahadasha of Saturn and Antardasha of Mercury and Sushma Dasha of Mars. And this Saturn, which is the ascendant of this house, gave him success. So dear friends, I think all these 3 birth charts might have made the concept very clear to you that the person whose birth chart is having robust Mars, Sun, Jupiter can get army or police service very easily. Thank you very much. Please like the video and subscribe my channel. Thank you once again.